Lenny, how you doing, man?
It's me.
Aloha. It's Lenny. Yay.
Aloha.
Gosh, you look so cold.
Yes, it is pretty cold here in the Bay Area. It has been all winter long, so I'm still waiting for the sunny days that you enjoyed in Hawaii just moments ago.
Yes, yes, yes. Tell me what is cold in the Bay Area right
Oh,
now.
this is embarrassing. So I would say the lows were 40 this week. So, 40 to 42 high 50s.
Where's
So
my violin,
yeah,
man?
exactly.
Of course, here now we're recording uh on Monday, whatever day it is, and it's over 60 degrees and sunny in Lansing, Michigan.
Uh, all
I
right.
brought
I
it
can't
back
wait.
with me from Hawaii.
I can't
That's what
wait
I
to be
did.
there. Yeah, I can't
I
wait to
yeah.
be there. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll probably snow in July or something. Or May. You'll be here in May. It might snow. We had one Mighty Uke Day. It was Kamaka's 100th anniversary. Chris and his wife were here. Calais was here. Asa Young was here. And it started snowing. This is Mother's Day weekend. And and all the people from Hawaii were going, wow, this is so cool. And we're all going, oh man, we're so over this. But I think it is spring here anyway, so that'll be good. So you're coming to Mighty Uke Day, and while you've been at Mighty Uke Day at least once, a couple times. You've been at
Yeah, so I
Midwest Uke
did.
Camp.
Yeah, I think I did Mighty Uke Day twice, want to
Yeah,
say. And then I think I did the camp twice.
right.
And yeah, I've just been a avid Ben follower ever since. I mean, ever
Well,
since the first one.
I've been an avid ukulele follower. You
Yeah.
know, I always love having you at one of our events. So I'm so glad you can come this year. And well, you've been busy. You've been doing the NAM show, and you've had a couple other Kala events. You work obviously with Kala shirt, Kala U bass, um, and your Patreon page seems like that's doing pretty good. Got a lot of followers there.
Yeah, it's been really fun doing Patreon. Ever since COVID, I've been looking for a way to kind of keep the conversation going. During COVID, I was doing these workshops pretty much 3 days a week. Three
Yeah.
days a week, I was doing workshops just to kind of like, kill the time. And I felt like it was a good place to connect with others. And it was really fun to connect, especially with your community. A lot of the people in your community were joining my workshops throughout the entire pandemic. So after things kind of settled down, I was finally convinced, along with my good friend Cynthia, who has a huge Patreon. She kept trying to convince me to do a Patreon, and I was like, no, no, I don't want to do it. It's too much work. And finally realizing, like, I have a community who wants to be engaged, who wants to support me, and so I decided to start the Patreon. And one of the things about me with, like, the workflow of it is it's hard for me sometimes to figure out what exactly I want to do with I play and I sing, I do chord charts, I do chord melodies. I kind of do a lot of everything in the ukulele world, and so the Patreon was kind of like overwhelming. Like, what do I want to do with Patreon?
Right,
So
sure.
I really crafted it around doing chord melodies, and I thought that was a
Oh,
good
okay.
way. Like every month, I arrange a new chord melody and share it with my community, and I do a workshop. And then from there, I started to develop other classes. I have a U-based class. I have kind of a seminar class that is based on theory and kind of like we talk about performance and other ukulele related topics. And then I teach one private lesson. Like you can sign up to get one private lesson from me a month. So that's my
No, okay.
Patreon.
Wow, that sounds great. That sounds like it does keep you busy, that's for sure.
Yeah, so I have like a little bit of a schedule where every Monday I'm doing something, which is cool. It's one day a week. It's not a huge like month-long commitment for me. And there's just so much content that gets created as a result. Like I have so many chord melodies that I've made now that are all available just if you sign up
Right.
for the lowest tier of Patreon, you get all of my chord melodies.
Well, that's great. Yeah, well, I mean, it makes you keep coming up with new stuff for your followers and everything. So, yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool. Have you done a an automaton Patreon yet?
You know, what's funny is that I haven't done Automaton on Patreon, but I think the people want it. And at some point,
The
I got to give the
people
people
want it.
what I got to give the
Power to the
people what
people.
they want. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for those of you who don't know what an automaton is out there, it's this crazy little invention by some Japanese guy that it looks like a kind of like a tadpole. And uh-oh,
Looks like one of these. I
there it
think, oh,
is.
yeah, there it is.
Wow. It's amazing. It's amazing. They use them in all the symphonies out on the West Coast there. But I remember we had I don't know where we were at. We were at some festival. Maybe it was LA or Midwest Youth Camp or something. And we were playing Guess that Name That Tune on the automaton. So we may have an automaton happy hour sometime during Mighty Uke
Yes.
Day.
Spoiler alert. It might
Uh-oh.
happen.
That's right. That's right. No extra charge. The well, so we talked about the workshops you're going to do. And here again, we've worked together so many times and um I've just been happy to be able to present so many of your wonderful workshops. And we have some new ones this year, which will be great to expose to our attendees. We've got the intro to looping. We got the moving on up. That reminds me of like the Jeffersons theme song or something. Euchre size. I could probably use a little bit of that. And the School of Jam. So so let's talk about looping at first. That's to me, boy, there's such an art to that to time everything right. There's all different kinds of loopers, but I guess they all pretty much do the same thing. How do you approach a looping class?
Yeah, I mean, and this one is actually the one that's not new, actually, because we've done it at Mighty Uke Day before. But I think over the years, I've definitely developed more looping kind of practices that I can share with this workshop. Yeah, with a workshop like looping, the first thing is to kind of practice the art of layering different things. So I like to include a few arrangements of things that I would loop normally. So I'll have a couple of songs that I already have kind of, composed through that you will learn all the parts so that you know what to add one piece at a time. That's one aspect of looping that's kind of maybe if you play solo ukulele, you don't really think about. Like, oh, I need to add a bass line, I need to add a riff layer, I need to add all these things. And then there's just the strict, the straight up timing technique of pressing your
Yeah,
foot down on that pedal, which can be very difficult. So I kind of go through a little bit of that. And what's fun is, I have a microphone, I have the loop pedal, so we can kind of create these little vocal loops to kind of help us with our timing. And sometimes that helps. If you can vocalize something, then you can start to learn how to play it as well.
sure.
So there's two parts to that. One is the composition, and the other is actually using the physical loop pedal, which hopefully, depending on our class, I want to give everybody a try, or at least a handful of people a try to really physically use the loop pedal.
Right, right. Yeah, that timing is crazy. People like you and Victoria Vox and I'm just amazed that while you're singing, you're performing, singing, playing the song, and then you got to have the sense to go right now is when I hit it. And sometimes it's like a little before the beat, or to get it just right. Um, that'll be really interesting. And yes, you did teach it before, um, and that's really cool. The moving on up.
Yeah, so moving on up is a brand new ebook. I guess it's not so brand new, maybe a year old. It released last year from Ukulele magazine. They had approached me to create this video series. It's 12 videos and 12 chapters on a little ebook. And so it's been really fun to develop that curriculum. Most of it is based on being able to move all your scales up and down, to master bar chords and move those up and down. And then there are a few chapters about strum patterns and other things like that. So this workshop is going to focus most on those scales, those bar chords, the theory behind, like finding every key on your ukulele, and we're just basically going to drill all that information. So the
Okay.
goal is to fill in those blanks that maybe you know the keys of G and you know the key of C. Well, let's learn the key of A flat and E flat. Let's jump to
Right.
F sharp. And let's learn kind of the simple practices to do that. So that one actually goes in with the other new class, which is down there, Ukulenny's School of Jam. So the idea of jamming, and I am like addicted to jamming. I just love to jump into a jam session, and it's sort of like jumping into the pool when you get into a jam session. It's sometimes more fun to me when I don't know anything about the song that I'm about to jump into. I just want to jump in and figure out what's happening. So when you master all of your scales and your bar chords, that will plug into when someone's already playing a song. You should be able to take your fingers and know where to go from there. How do I improvise on this song that's already playing? And we're going to practice that by playing a lot of different songs in different keys, and
Hmm.
trying to get all of the scales in order. Okay, here's wagon wheel in A. Where are your scales? Where are your chords? Oh, we're gonna jump to Three Little Birds in G. Where are your scales? Where are your chords?
Sure. Sure.
And other things based on jams like chord variations, embellishments, and things like that.
Well, that's cool too, because a lot of times in an actual jam, I mean, you don't have music or anything out in front of you. Like you said, you're just coming in, they're playing Wagon Wheel, and you're going, okay, yeah, it's in G, and then know what to do after that. So, yeah, that's real helpful. I mean, I think the more we get people off paper, the more versatile, the easier it is for you just to jump in and play with people.
Yeah, and I think, I was leading a jam once, and it's a jam I've led in Alameda right here in California for like years and years. And someone came up to me and asked, like, do you ever play different songs? And I was like, not really. We have like 100 songs in our book, and I haven't released a new book in a long time, and I'm probably due for that. But I think there is kind of like people want to play new songs and want to experience different things, but I also want to encourage people, like, you can be playing the same songs but using different techniques during that song. So like
Absolutely.
if you have
Yep.
a jam where it's the same songs over and over, you don't need to be bored. You can be learning the new chord shapes, you can be studying new scales, you can find ways to make it more interesting. So I want to give people the tools to do that. So you have your jam where you play new songs every week,
Right. Right.
and maybe you have another situation where you don't. And
Well, and
here's what
that's
you
that's the word, the tools. I mean, that's one of the things I usually teach is all these little things, this different kind of strum, this different chord shape. These are the tools in your toolbox that you pull out when you need them. And if nothing else, it keeps you entertained while you're playing Wagon Wheel for the 100th time. But you can put a little reggae beat in there or do a different chord inversion or something. So yeah, that's great to have those little tips, you know, stored away back there to pull them out right when you need them.
yeah.
And then you're doing an exercise class. Now this is like jumping jacks and
Yeah, it's
all that kind
actually
of stuff.
just you're just gonna hold your uke while we do calisthenics. So basically, it's
Wow.
it's it's kind of like goat yoga, except instead of goats on your back, it's ukes on your back.
I tell you, when I was in Hawaii, I swear everywhere where you're driving around, they had goat yoga, they had sheep yoga, they had cuddle a cow, which was the I don't know, but I
Gotta
don't think
love
that's what that
animals.
class
We
is.
need to
Yeah,
bring
I
that
love
energy.
animals. I don't really want to cuddle a cow though, I don't think, but anyway. But I'm
Um,
taking it that is not really what the class is
no,
about.
that is not it. Yeah. I wanted to focus on exercises a little bit this year as part of my Patreon class as well. So I developed a few exercise sheets for that, and I thought it would be good to bring this into the workshop space. I think a lot of people will have kind of an exercise workshop, and I like speaking on exercises, mostly just that whatever exercises you use, we have so many things we can focus on while we're exercising. So I will provide the exercises that I have, but mostly talking about the philosophy and the mentality that you want to go into when we do exercises. And I always draw it to like sports because I really love sports and I love basketball. I grew up with basketball. I played volleyball in high school. And I always tell my students, like, I really wish I hit the weight room. I really wish I exercised when I was an athlete
Yeah,
because I really just like jumped on the court and just
sure.
played and I was pretty good. But imagine if I like worked to get buff. I would have actually been a good athlete, right? And I think a lot of us in the ukulele world tend to feel that same way like, oh, I'm getting my exercise, I'm playing my jams, I'm doing the stuff that you need to do to be an ukulele player. But if you just spend a little time on exercises and a little time listening to your ukulele as you're doing them, you will get so much better, so much faster. And I always want to bring that message to everybody wherever I can. You know, like a simple 0 1 2 3 on every string is going to really enhance your ability to play all these tabs that you're trying to play on your uke. So that's kind of the main piece of that, but I will have some good exercises to share with you all.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a good analogy. I mean, I do want to say I'm glad you didn't hit the weight room too hard because then we wouldn't have you as an ukulele player and
Yeah.
teacher probably. So I know you love basketball too. You're always posting about your basketball folks. But
Yes.
well, that all sounds cool. And then we got the automaton happy hour, which is going to be just amazing. We're not quite sure what we're doing yet, but it'll be amazing. And I do want to hear the Hollow Hollow song somewhere
Yeah.
while you're there.
Yeah, I'll play a little more original music this time around. I know we got some of my friends. I know Victor jammed with me
Yeah,
last time, so
that's right.
I
That's
think
right.
he'll be up to it again.
I'm
And
sure he will.
I'm really just humble by the continued connection I have with your community. You know, being here in California and feeling like my home away from home. You know, in Michigan, the great state of ukulele. You know, the
Yeah, the
great
great
ukulele
the
state.
great Uke State. I mean, and that
Yeah.
that is cool though. And you did so much to help build that community by really being on the forefront of all that online stuff during COVID. I mean, that's what kept it all going, you know. That's what gave everybody like some hope and everything, during those times because it was pretty crazy times. So like I said, I'm glad you didn't become a professional basketball player. I
Thanks.
mean, just think,
I don't know. I don't know how many
professional
five
basketball
five six.
player. Well, there was Mookie. What was his
No, it was
that little
Spud
guy?
Webb. I think was
Spud
5'8" or
Webb.
something. Spud
And he
Webb,
could
but
dunk it too.
Muggsy Bogues
Muggsy
was five
Bogues.
three. So he's
That's true.
the only
That's
one to
true.
make
He
it.
could
And then
dunk it too, I
Yuri
think.
of the Memphis Grizzlies now, or Yuki, I think. I forget what his name is.
Well,
Uh,
Yuki, that's
uh, s-
perfect name for a basketball ukulele
Yeah,
player.
guy from Japan is just like, yeah, I think his last name Watanabe. He's like really, really good. But yeah, and
Well,
then the 5'6" guys like me, I don't know if we'll make it.
There you go. Well, we're glad you're in the ukulele community here,
Me too.
Lenny.
Me too.
So, May 9th through 11th, East Lansing, Michigan, and we're gonna have a good time.
We sure are. Thank you, Ben. Can't wait.
All right. Thank you, Lenny. It's gonna be great. I can't wait.